Warning: the following contains explicit language and subject matter that may not be suitable for younger listeners, church folk, and people who enjoy kale smoothies.
Now tell me something good.
I just discovered the next Alicia Keys. I swear to God above, I can vouch for her.
The next Alicia Keys.
Yeah.
What was your last discovery?
Chocolate Daddy.
I couldn't hear you. What'd you say?
Chocolate Daddy?
Yeah, Chocolate motherfucking Daddy. He discovered Chocolate Daddy. How much did Chocolate Daddy sell?
15,000 units.
15,000 units.
Proud of every unit. I'm proud of those units. I'm telling you, this girl
Shut the fuck up.
This girl.
Don't talk.
She got a.
I shut the fuck up. 15,000 units. You made me vouch for Chocolate Daddy. 15,000 units. I got 6 fucking kids. You know how much money that is to put them through school? You know how many Air Jordan 6 black kids wear?
I'm sorry for my outburst. I'm having a panic attack right now.
Hear the talking, and then all of a sudden it starts.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, hey, welcome back to A Pod Amongst Men.
Yeah.
But seriously, welcome back to A Pod Amongst Men.
There we go.
Yeah, we're in now. Hey, everybody, we're here. It's Monday night. I have my boys, 8 Graves,
What up?
in the studio. Nick.
Hello.
Brent.
Hi.
Welcome, guys.
Thanks for having us, man.
Pleasure to have you. We go way back.
Like, God, what have I known you for, like, 12 years now? How long?
It's been before the bands.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember this. You and I actually went on a double date one time to TGI Fridays.
What?
Dude,
Half
I've
price
been on
apps?
a lot of
Okay.
dates.
This is a long time ago.
Who was I on a date with? Who are you on a date with?
Well, I could cut the names out later.
Oh, yeah, we have.
I was like hoping it was a date. I don't think she thought it was a date. Like in my side of the table, you guys.
She probably thought it was a date.
I don't think so. I didn't get anywhere.
How could she not want a date? You're so handsome.
Around those days, man. I was about as chubby back then as I am now. So it's that it's that baby weight.
That's fine, dude. It's in.
I'm still trying to shake it.
It's in, man.
Yeah, I mean, my kid's 8 now, but I'll get it off one of these days. And he's my stepson, but
That's fine, dude. Don't worry
So,
about it.
like I said, we go back a ways. You guys, myself, we were all in bands in the same area. We played a lot of the same shows.
We did.
So why don't you guys give us a quick background of how you guys became musicians and the bands you were in, where we might know you from?
Well, he's a real musician, so he could go first.
Well, for me personally, how I became a musician, I was actually just talking to this, Weege? Yeah, I was just talking about that.
Our DJ friend.
Yeah, he's in Mexico. Yeah.
Of course.
I got into it really oddly. I really didn't care about music until about 15, even though my dad played guitar, my grandfather played accordion and stuff like that. I was like a hacker programmer kid on AOL back in the day. And
we all wanted to be. I mean,
yeah,
he
I was.
was legit.
No, you were legit.
I was stealing credit card
We
numbers.
were all
and
aspiring
stuff.
to be like you.
You can cut that out, right? Sorry, Mom. But
Sorry, you didn't give the number out.
Here's a list of the numbers I stole.
yeah. So anyway, these programs I used to create that used to wreak havoc on AOL. The cool thing in the scene was to have music in the program. And I decided to set myself apart, and I wanted to see how I could make my own music. So I downloaded this program. Now it's called FL Studio, but back then it was called Fruity Loops.
I've heard. I know.
Yeah.
That.
So I started with version 1.7, and I was just like, oh, I kind of like this. So I just kind of segued into music production, I guess, in a way. I didn't know I was doing it. I didn't know it was production at the time. But that's how I got into it.
And he used to make music at a time where you couldn't even share it.
Oh,
Yeah, that was pre-Napster days.
the only thing that existed was mp3.com.
Wow.
mp3.com.
For all you youngins out there, we don't even use MP3s really anymore. Well, I guess we still do. This is an MP3 format, so forget I said anything.
I mean, for music though, kind of, but not really.
Everyone streams everything now.
And
anyway,
you
so-
can stream everything
Yeah.
in WAV format now, which is higher quality.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, as a creator, I have to do this because I don't make enough money to upgrade all my hardware.
No way, dude. And I think for spoken voice, the detail is
Yeah, it's not
more
that-
about what we're talking about than the sultry tones of my baritone voice.
You still sound sultry.
I
though.
do sound.
Oh, how sultry it is. So wait, so did you which instrument did you pick up first?
Guitar.
Okay.
Yeah, it was my
So I know you've
dad's.
been rocking with that for a long time.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, actually. Yeah, I actually shied away from it for a little bit. I got kind of bored with it because I really got into synthesizing and sound design. But then I came back to it. So obviously, I play guitar in this band. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I think I kind of got into music pretty early. I started playing in band in like 4th grade, and I just had to have my hands on every instrument I could.
What'd you play?
What didn't I play? My main instrument was saxophone. That was my strongest.
I was a trumpet guy.
Yeah. I mean,
Nice.
I played trumpet and trombone and bassoon, and
So you dabbled.
I mean, everything I could get my hands on, I played. And I was lucky enough to have my music teachers growing up were just like amazing. My middle school music teacher, his name's Mike Wallach. He was like my mentor all through middle school, and he really inspired me to like really take music seriously, and maybe too much because it kind of got it got under me a little bit, and then I
'Cause here
couldn't
you
get
are.
away. I
Still
know,
doing
still
it.
doing it, and I just can't.
You got that itch you couldn't scratch.
Dude, I can't get away from it, man. It's just like the only thing I've ever really.
I mean, you've tried to
Carried
get away
on.
from it. Well, you didn't try, but you have been.
I
away
had.
from
I mean,
it.
I
Yeah.
felt like I was determined to get away from it.
You
And
take
Yeah.
a break, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I think everybody's taking a break at some point.
That was the worst break of my life.
Yeah,
That
bad,
year.
dude.
Yeah.
But then as I got older, I also really got attached to like writing too, and I think out of all the creative talents that I have, I think the best thing, the thing I'm best at, I should say, is words. I'm really good with wordplay,
Listen,
man.
I got to give you all the credit in the world, man. All right, so for anybody listening, Brent and Nick here were originally in a band, not their first band, Vampire for Hire.
Yeah, dude.
Okay, when you guys had your second demo that you came out with, bro, I still like years after that you guys came out with that, I still listen to that like in my rotation.
Dude, a lot of people send me like screenshots of their phone, like it's in their iTunes, and they listen to it still. You know?
Dude, you guys like it was just really good songwriting.
What record was that? What was on that?
That was
Dude.
Scared to Death,
Oh,
Dance Floor
yeah,
Disaster.
for
Old
sure.
school, man. And that was
Those were
like,
we were heavy into the scene in those days.
yeah, and I think like for me, I've never considered myself like some brilliant singer. If anything, my voice is tenuous at times, but it was just a way for me to kind of put words into something that I thought people could absorb a little bit easier than maybe like poetry or like writing prose. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know that there's as big of an audience for that.
You
as
know,
there is for
I
music.
think there might not be.
Yeah, right? Especially now. And I also thought that, like, if you have something to say, I always talk about packaging what I have to say in the right package.
Okay.
In that a lot of what I have to write about is kind of sad and depressive and dark. And we can put it in a package that's pretty with a nice big glittery bow, and people unwrap it and dig through it a little bit more readily than if it was just a Sylvia Plath poem or something. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like,
But you know what? I think some of that, like the sadness and the negative emotions, and that's some of the best inspiration I think for a lot of creative people.
and I also
Like it's almost like
think-
a way to get it out.
And I
even.
also think like it's important to have some of that around for people, right?
Yeah.
Like when we were kids, and I'm dating us now, but when we were kids, we had Nirvana and Deftones and all that 90s alternative music, whether it was Stone Temple Pilots or there was a place for you to go when you were sad or angry.
Yeah.
Like there was metal on the radio.
that was
right?
what.
We
Yeah.
could
Teenage
listen to
angst
Slipknot.
found its home.
Exactly. And now it's like, if you're a kid and you just don't identify with party, sex, drugs, I don't know where you go.
Well, it goes in waves because think of before like that grunge era.
Yeah.
They had like
All
hair
the
metal.
80s hair metal, right?
Yeah. Think of Motley Crue. They weren't singing about sad shit.
100%. So I think now it's coming around, and what's really cool is I think that we're kind of what we're doing. We've been doing now for 5 years, and now you have the Billie Eilishes of the world and the K Flays of the world, and kind of these like alternative kind of sad boy and sad girl songwriters that are kind of happening. And I think for us as musicians, a lot of times we were trying to kind of do what had already happened. Mm-hmm. This is the first time where I feel
Or
like
what was
we were
happening.
already
Yeah.
happening.
Yeah.
You guys
And
are on that wave
now
right now.
we kind of are in front of the wave instead of behind it, and
Yeah.
it just happened that way. Like there was no planning involved with that, and that's, to me, I think part of the reason that we've actually had organic success right now is because we just happened to do really what we believed in. I said what I wanted to say, And Nick kind of, when I finish the vocals for a track and we record them, I'm just like, yep, go get it, bud. You know, like I don't even.
If he
think
says
about
it's
it.
okay, like I trust you.
I don't even worry about it. Like the song we're gonna record tomorrow, there's like an instrumental part that I think's really off the wall, and Nick's just like, "You gotta give me this one. I got it, dog." And I'm
Yeah,
like,
it's pretty strange, but I'm gonna make it.
But I don't even trust. I don't even worry about it. I trust him to make it awesome, and it doesn't like bug me. So now we're just both doing like what we want to do, and it kind of works out that way. But again, to answer the question, I went from playing music with instruments to not really being rich enough to buy all the instruments, so just singing. And I grew up singing like R&B stuff, and then poetry and writing became a part of it, so I kind of just adapted into a singer.
Well, that goes perfectly into my next question, because I was going to ask, like, what kind of stuff were you guys listening to and playing when you first started? Dude. Like, what got in your bones?
I mean, I can answer right away.
No,
I was listening to Prodigy.
Really?
Anything out of the UK, even still to this day, like I was just like enamored with. They always had this way of like sampling, but not in the way that like American, hip hop was doing.
I love that
which
answer.
I like too.
Yeah,
but the sampling and that like, I mean, now you got UK grime and whatnot, but that like bass music from back in the late 90s, early 2000s was like really what I was just super focused on all the time.
I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like they didn't get enough credit. Like Prodigy was really fucking good, man.
I think they did everywhere but here.
But here, I mean, obviously, Smack My Bitch Up was like,
that was huge.
Killed.
No, they
And
still
Breathe.
they still are
MTV
huge.
Well, that
music
whole-
video.
Yeah, that whole Fat of the Land.
that whole
album was
record,
big.
and that might not even be. I don't think that's even their best record. Like,
I mean, they put Smasher after Smasher. Yeah, absolutely.
Always Outnumbered, Never Outgunned is probably my favorite.
It's really good. Yeah.
But I think they got their due overseas more than maybe here, really. But like for me, when I started working in bands, I had always been like R&B and like rap influence. I grew up in an area where I always make the joke that I didn't know white people made music until I was in like 7th grade.
Dude, I had the same thing. My mom listened to like
I see that actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
my mom always listened to like Motown and like
Yeah,
soul
me too,
music.
yeah.
My dad always listened to like smooth
My
jazz.
mom's favorite musician is Anita Baker. Who I still listen to all the time.
I remember like as a kid being in the car and hearing Anita Baker constantly.
Yeah.
And now as a grown man, going back and listening, like I didn't realize how many Anita Baker songs I actually knew like, that are actually in me that I completely forgot
And
about.
also, don't underestimate how much of a impact that had on you playing bass.
Yeah, that's
right?
true.
Because those songs are so bassline heavy and like so cool in that regard. Like the coolest part about a lot of that music is the bass lines, and the bass players are so dope.
Well, I was gonna say the two other artists that I listened to the most when I was a kid were Marvin Gaye and Sade.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Sade's bass player was one of the most like just in the pocket, real
Tight,
smooth,
dude.
like nothing too crazy, but it just those bass lines make those songs and they hit.
100%.
It's so simple, but it hits so hard.
It's
you know what
amazing.
I mean?
No, and that to me was always kind of like the thing that was a lost art for me when I started getting into more rock music. There's not a lot of rock music that's like understatedly good, right?
Yeah.
Like most of the stuff is so flashy and over the top. And I really like musicians that are just like about letting the song kind of happen. And that's what we try to do a lot when we write. Like we talk a lot about what the song needs. We very rarely are like, we need to make a format different because like we need to make a different format. Like
Yeah.
if we write, verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, every song, and nothing says that it wants out of that, then that's how it's gonna go. Because we don't like force stuff.
Yeah, the
on
moment
it.
that we're like, what if it does this? It's like, no, you're doing some weird idea,
for no
like
reason.
why key change, like whatever. Yeah.
So that's like a big thing. But I grew up on that, and then I was all rap. Like I remember being my freshman year of high school, like memorizing DMX, like It's Dark and Hell is Hot. Like that was like,
Bro, I was scared of DMX when he first came out.
I thought I was DMX when he first came out.
But for real though, like Cat Williams had that line. Is like, I met DMX. I don't know why. I thought he was 6'12" or something.
Dude, DMX.
Like, he was like
He was already rich and
presence
famous,
is
and then
loud,
getting arrested
yeah.
for snatching purses and shit, wasn't he? Like,
well,
he's
he's
like
not,
a
and then
nut.
he was impersonating federal officers.
Yeah,
and stuff.
I
I saw him in West New York.
Really?
Yeah, he was driving on River Road.
He played a show.
I got so nervous.
He played a show at Triumph Brewery in New Hope or something.
No,
I swear on my life.
I don't believe it.
I swear on my life. But
What was the?
I
audience
watched an
like?
interview with Swizz Beatz, and Swizz Beatz says if he wasn't like so banged up on drugs all the time that he would have been the greatest rapper that ever lived.
Dude, he had a rough life.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's a mess. But and you know, no judgment past, he's still a brilliant musician. I think that first rap that might be the most like gangster ass rap record of all time. Maybe that's a really
that's okay. You can say all time. It's okay.
I'm just saying. I don't want to hot take, but that's a really underrated record, and nobody talks about it a lot because the follow ups just weren't there. But that first DMX record that came out was just.
Dude, think about it. When Get At Me Dog came out,
yeah,
like you had like the West Coast was, that was what was big then.
Yeah.
At the time, people were like, oh shit,
he snapped it
like,
right back.
Yes. Oh, God,
so then I kind of took rap stuff and I got into like. Actually, Linkin Park was big for me, and Deftones was huge for me because it was like accessible for me because they were kind of rapping.
A little bit in some
right?
of the songs.
So it was like not a far, like Deftones. There's a lot of talking.
Transition.
Yeah, and it was so it kind of that got me into like metal, and then I was like into like really bad new metal.
You were such a new metal kid.
It sucked, dude. No one told me not to do that.
At the time, it seemed
fingernail
okay.
polish.
Yeah, dude. I was
On that double date I was talking about, that would be bonded over Rage Against the Machine.
That's again. There's
Okay.
another one,
Yeah.
right? So
That's
rapping,
a big record for me too, actually.
Well, that's the thing. That's what kind of pushed me
man.
towards rap music or towards rock music because it was again rapping in like a rock format. I listened to that. I still listen to that subtitled Rage Against the Machine record all the time.
I just had on today.
It's so good.
Bomb Track came on. I was like 2 minutes away from the
Okay.
house.
Oh, dude,
I had to take
so
an extra turn just so I could hear the end of the song.
Yeah, so that was another one. And then that kind of got me into rock and metal, and then when I started playing with these dudes when we were doing Vampire for Hire, that was when I was introduced to like emo, right? Like My Chem and Alkaline Trio, and I was like, wait, this is like kind of how I write, I didn't know people even really did that, and then I kind of like adapted my writing style to that a little bit without being quite as. I always say I'm like 50% emo. I'm like
50% emo?
Why you think I'm more?
No, I think it's actually a lot.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, thanks, bud.
Yeah.
I think that's fair. I think it's a fair assessment, and it's not to knock you in any way.
Yeah, no, not at all.
I think if you're a musician from New Jersey, at some point
You got a little
had
bit
an
of that
emo
in
I'm
phase.
not going to argue that. That's
Yeah, you
true.
got a little
It's
bit
kind of
of
in you.
Especially in this time, like our age group, like My Chem blew up,
Oh,
like
yeah,
Senses
dude.
Fail was
Yeah,
huge.
for sure.
Hawthorne Heights, you have all these bands that like blew up really fast. So it's part of where we come from. It's just part of our background.
And that's the thing. That's like what's really cool about what we get to do is I feel like our songs definitely have like influences from every single one of those. We have like boom bap hip hop beats, and then like drum beats, and then synthesizers that are all wild. He'll take a guitar and screw it all up like Prodigy would, and I get to write some emo-ish lyrics with an R&B style vocal, like that's kind of rhythmic and rappy in a way. So we literally are taking our cherry picking our favorite parts of everything that we like and somehow putting that into a clean package.
Well, I like how nowadays, like if you notice kind of the evolution of how music has kind of changed, you see a lot more blending styles nowadays. Like the lines are so much more blurred. Because back in the day, it was like, all right, you either Linkin Park where you have rap and rock, or even a little further back, Run DMC did Walk This Way with Aerosmith.
Sure,
and
that was seen as like whoa, like so groundbreaking, and it was
now,
at the time.
Yeah, now there's just so much like crossbreeding with all these different genres. Like I really like the fact that you guys don't fit any one genre.
Yeah, well, that's what I was gonna say. I think there's a difference between blending because of blending and blending because everything is becoming homogenous, right? And I think
that's true.
We see that with a lot of music, whether it's really, really pop music or now like I hate to even bring it up because but Old Town Road, right? Like
okay.
Like
I'm not gonna all right, time out. I was doing a little sound check before you guys got here, and I had my son and the little girl lives across the street, and they were sitting right where you're sitting right now, and to warm up, they sang that song.
Yeah. And again, it's not that like I hate the song or I hate that kid. I'm actually super happy for that kid. He seems nice as the day is long. I follow him on Twitter. He's so nice. He's really funny.
He seems like really grateful for the opportunity.
He really does. He's going and playing shows at elementary schools and entertaining children. He seems like a beautiful person.
Seems like a good egg.
But there is a part of me that's like, wow, that song just seems really like low IQ. People
simple.
are like really into it. Well, that's the thing, and that's great.
It's a catchy hook,
but
and that's all people need.
And that's the thing, and that's great. But for me, also, again, it's about you could take that song. Yeah, there's a country singer in it, right? Mm-hmm. And there's a rapper in it, and that should be so different. And it's not that different.
It's not.
It does sound kind of like everything that's already kind of happening. It's got a sung hook and some rapping and then like a sampled beat. And it's kind of, it's just kind of like everything else.
Speaking of the sample, I was like, I
a
didn't
Nine
want
Inch
to.
Nails sample.
I know. I was like,
Yeah.
why do I like this song?
Well, that's why.
Because it's in the background
Yeah.
and it's from Nine Inch Nails.
Which
the intro
is
to what song
One
is
of
this?
the greatest 5 musical acts to ever exist. So it's one of those things that, again, I'm so happy for that kid. He just seems to be just having a blast, and he's just amazing as a person. I just am like, wow, you're so cool.
Yeah.
And it's awesome that people are enjoying it, but at the same time, for me as a creative person, I'm always like, I wish it took maybe a little bit more than that, but you don't want to steal anything from him because obviously he's worked very hard to get where he is, and God bless him, and I wish him all the success in the world.
Yeah. We're just talking like, for the sake of argument.
Exactly, but
no disrespect to
something
anybody.
that should be, you take a rapper and a country singer. I don't know that that's ever been done,
I don't think so.
right? Not that I can think of. So it should be something that sounds so revolutionary and different. It doesn't. It sounds like everything else that exists
Well,
because, again,
it just sounds like a rap song, to be honest.
pretty much.
Like, I don't know what the whole...
But again, if you listen to country songs now, they're kind of rap songs.
Well, that's the thing. There's like that big argument now in like the country genre where it's like, well, what you guys consider country, we consider pop. So like we're gonna call ourselves Americana now.
Yeah, and a lot of what's pop is kind of rap.
Well, that's the thing. With the pop genre, everything kind of, like you said, like blurs. It all gets watered down in the same pot.
It's becoming like identity politics, right? Mm-hmm. Where like what it's called is based on who's doing it.
Yeah.
And it's a lot like that with country. Like if it's a white dude from Texas, it's a country song. It doesn't matter that he's rapping.
Yeah.
And that's cool. I'm happy that like everybody's finding their home and everybody can have success, but sometimes I'm like, it's not really that people are finding creative ways to blend genres. It's just that every genre has kind of become the same thing. There's really just pop.
Yeah.
And then there's alternative. And even some things that are alternative, like for instance, Halsey, who I've known Ashley since she was 16 or 17 years old. Beautiful person, amazing singer. A lot of times she gets labeled as alternative. I'm like, the alternative to what? That girl's a pop star. She's amazing. Like, there's nobody better than her at what she does. She's a killer out there. And still, sometimes depending on what her song is, and it'll really be based on lyrical content, they'll be like, oh, it's an alternative song. And I'm like, no, that girl's a pop star and has earned every bit of being considered a pop star. Don't steal on her like that. So it's
you kind of made an interesting point talking about deciding what the sound is based on the song rather than the artist. You know how like the artist would be like, there'll be an alternative artist, or they're indie or they're rock, right? But like, I'm not sure if it's with this like single heavy world where it's like, depending on the gatekeeper that you're submitting music to, whomever,
100%.
They're going to be like, oh, now you're presenting something to me that I subjectively believe that it is alternative,
it's
or I believe
us.
it is. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
We know, first case,
We have songs that we think are kind of the same, and one gets put on a rock playlist on Spotify because the curator decides that's where it goes, and then another one gets an alternative beats, which is like a alternative electronic playlist, and we're grateful for both, and we're super thankful for
which is interesting because from our perspective, we're like, they sound similar to us.
Yeah, we think they're the same.
Yeah,
but to them, they're like, well, these are totally different genres.
Yeah, so it's interesting where people kind of gravitate towards, like, if you have like a 90s clean guitar sound, it's like, okay, well, that's rock or alternative. But if you're more in the synth heavy where the guitar is driven to a way that doesn't feel like the guitar in its natural sense, okay, now it's alternative, right? So that's interesting to me from a producer because, producer standpoint, because, when I'm designing stuff, I just go with feel. I'm like, my ear hears this, I tweak until I feel that it works to some degree, and I don't really try to push it towards like, oh, this guitar has to be clean or it has to be whatever instrument it is. So to have it, to get the feedback that it's, selective by, per song, it's interesting to me. So
yeah, because we've had EDM placement, we've had rock placement, we've had alternative placement. Yeah. We're two kids. We make the songs that we think are the same. They go on the same record together.
Do you think that's a sign of like maturity as a songwriter? Because if you think of like, I don't know, like I know like in terms of like pop stars, like you see like Bruno Mars.
Yeah.
His last 2 albums, if you listen to them, those songs, well, the last one is pretty much all like 90s R&B, but the one before that, you have a mix where some of them sound like kind of indie, like folk almost. Some of them sound like dancey, hip hop. Some of them, they have a reggae song on there.
Remember that album is called Unorthodox Jukebox, right?
For a reason.
And it's called because
Right.
he basically took all his favorite songs of all time and just remade them. One is Dirty Diana, right?
Yeah.
That's that Moneymaker Smile song. That's just Dirty Diana. There's the Police song. That just sounds like Walking on the Moon. That I can't remember what it's called now.
I can't remember either.
What, Locked Out of Heaven?
No,
The one
Locked
that
Out
was
of
a single?
Heaven is based on a song that I can't think of, and now I sound like I don't know what I'm talking about. But you could look it up. Like, they literally have a thing where they're like, this song is this song, and this song is this song, and this song is this. And it's great because in pop music, everything is derivative. It's formulaic of something that's already existed with, like, your own twist on it. And arguably nobody's done it more successfully and better than he has, and he's got the talent to do it, right? I couldn't remake a Michael Jackson song if I wanted to. I can't sing like that.
I mean, the Eagles. The Eagles did it.
Well, yeah, but they still...
Well, I mean, think of like later on, like
they
around
still
the
had
long
their
road.
own thing, man.
They had their thing, but think of songs like, you have The Long Road, and then you have I Can't Tell You Why on the
Yeah.
same album. It doesn't even sound like the same band.
But I also think that's because they have
Different singers, too.
all of them sing and
Yeah.
all of
Yeah.
them write and so right, you're always going to have some variation there for one kid to be able to do it. And again, I call Bruno Mars a kid. I think he's younger than me, but and I don't know that he writes all that stuff by himself.
I gotta assume there's a team involved.
Yeah, I mean, and again, most people on his level have that.
Yeah. If you can do it, I mean, shit, it makes the songs better. Well, why not?
And you can afford it.
Yeah, well.
But it's interesting to see how things get adapted and how things kind of go and what is considered what based on who's doing it and how they're doing it and how it's presented too. Sometimes it's just like your photo shoot, you got black eye makeup on and now you're alternative, right? Like it's really that simple. And I to answer your question, I think the one thing that really determines it right now is that the music industry has shrank. And what I mean by that is, like major labels used to have whole A&R departments with hundreds of people.
Yeah.
Like they had bloated staff.
Well, the internet changed everything.
100%. And Spotify and streaming services for music have really kind of taken a toll on that. Live Nation getting involved in the way that live shows work, which I'm sure we'll talk about that a little bit more, has had a big part about that, big part in that. So as the music industry has whittled down, the number of gatekeepers and the number of people who really get to say this is this, that is that, is now a fraction of what it used to be.
Well, it seems, so easy now for anybody to get their music out there, for people to hear.
It's easier to send it somewhere.
That's true.
But you now have, if you want to send it to Spotify, you have like 8 people that are listening to every song submitted for playlisting. Literally.
And you're competing with literally everybody
With
now.
with some kid in his
probably.
basement that has no idea what he's doing, that very well may learn and become brilliant. You know, we make
that's
make our records in Nick's bedroom.
Yeah.
That's not to snap on somebody who makes songs in their basement.
Hey, we're doing a podcast in the dining room.
There,
Who
and
am I to judge?
we record our vocals in a closet in Nick's room. That's not, that's not an elitist thing. I actually hate when people are like, "Well, go get music," like Dave Grohl nonsense about how kids shouldn't make their records on computers. They should be in the garage with their instruments. I'm like, I wish I had a garage to make music, and believe me,
That's when somebody really starting to show their age a little bit.
yeah,
there.
exactly. And like, hey, bud,
As much as I love him,
everybody can't do
yeah.
that, right? Like, not everybody has the money to do that, but
Yeah.
that's a whole nother conversation.
Ever heard of an apartment?
Yeah, if I put a band in my living room, I'm gonna get evicted.
Yeah.
But it's great because you can get it around, and I think if you have something special and you have a message and you have consistency and you package it properly, you can get exposure. But you're also fighting for less ears with literally everyone. Where in the past you might have 100 A&Rs at a label that you could get through to. Now it's like you have 8 curators at Spotify.
Seems like a really small number.
I mean,
it's real.
It really is 8, 9, 10.
No, I'm
11,
not saying
12.
you're wrong. I'm just saying like it's shockingly
it's really
small.
small. And by the way, labels, a lot of them don't even have A&R anymore. Like we were in LA. We were in LA last week of February,
Yeah, I think so.
and we were meeting with some industry folks. And like they literally evaluate now on like a spreadsheet. Like it's like, well, you have 60% growth on your YouTube followers. You have over 70% listener completion rate, which is like how many people start your song.
Yeah,
and
and finish it all the way.
And you have over 65% engaged listeners, which are people who are actively searching you in their streaming service rather than
Just coming
finding you
across
through
you.
a playlist or something.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah, like, hey,
did you listen to my song?
Yeah, I was gonna say, have you listened to the song?
Yeah.
How does it
We
make
made
you
a song.
feel?
Yeah, exactly.
I can sing it for you.
You literally are
Sheesh.
so quantifiable now.
Yeah.
And some of that is because of, sure, it's great. Everybody can submit their music to everyone, everywhere. But how?
Yeah, which you kind of can't almost blame it
No,
because,
how did they get
because
through
of the
that?
volume,
Yeah.
they have to have something that becomes systematic. And the only way they can do
absolutely.
that is with data. And because data rules the world now.
Exactly.
It
Ali
has sunk its
Hagendorf.
talents into music.
Ali Hagendorf is the global director of rock and alternative at Spotify.
Okay.
She is a brilliant, beautiful, wonderful person. She has been so kind to us and good to us. And just because we sent her a song and she liked it, and she gave it the works.
That's lucky.
Right? Yeah, I mean, A,
Very
fortunate,
fortunate,
and B, we busted our ass for that.
Oh,
right?
of course, yeah.
But
The hustle is real.
Yeah,
I think it's
right?
evident, having known you guys for years.
yeah,
Like,
well, we appreciate that.
Thanks, man.
But it's, she's a brilliant, beautiful, fantastic person. She's always so kind and so gracious with her attention, and we say thank you. She
I actually don't
always
know
answers
how
us.
she does it.
I don't know how she does it.
I don't know
either.
how she does it.
But she
God
literally
bless.
we sent her a song that's coming out in a couple weeks, and she literally emailed us back and was like, "You got to send it to me the week of, man." Like,
nice.
And she's like, "I can't even get to it. Like, I have to work on what's coming out this week." So literally, how many songs come out in a week?
A lot.
And she's got to sift through all of that in 5, 6, 7 days.
Well, think about it. I mean, if you're working for Spotify, that's pretty much all the songs.
You can now submit directly to them.
Yeah.
So, what is she getting? 100,000 songs?
I mean,
Well,
in a year?
she's certainly
In a
got a
week?
pot.
I don't know. I don't think it's that much.
She's certainly got a pot amongst
What?
men.
Let's say it's 10,000. How do you get through 10,000 songs in a week? And I think 10,000 is a
Yeah.
pretty
I think any
conservative
number.
I think it's a
we can
lean
think of.
number.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, it's tough.
Let me ask you this now. Now, obviously, most people stream music nowadays. We're not buying CDs or anything, but live shows.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, you guys are based mostly in New York.
Yeah.
For shows.
Yeah.
Do you feel like? I mean, you always hear about people like, "Oh, we're going to move out west." Like that's where the opportunity is. Like, I don't think that really applies for music, right? Like,
It does and it doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, there's certainly a scene out there for sure. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, there's merit to going out there.
And also, that's where a lot of industry people live.
yeah,
So, this is an unpopular opinion, and this always rubs people the wrong way when I say it.
Rob
but
us. Let's hear it.
There's a lot of people.
That sounded really weird.
Rub us.
There's a lot of people in the music industry that make me sometimes feel like I would have been better off doing coke in bathrooms with certain connected people than actually working on music.
Well, yeah, there's certainly a lot to be said.
Yeah,
in that
and
department.
if you're in LA and you hang out all the time, you're going to run into a lot of music industry people.
Mm-hmm.
And as we just said, as the numbers and the ability to get through everything you have to get through to analyze becomes insurmountable for a lot of industry people, it just becomes, I know that guy. Yeah, this song's cool, man.
Mm-hmm.
And as you know, there's times you listen to bands that are your friends that you maybe would not listen to
or maybe
if
that
it wasn't your homies.
Yeah, maybe that we were in bands with.
Yeah.
and now, I don't know. Are you guys still on good terms with them, or?
Oh, we're not going there.
That's all right.
I'm on good enough terms with him. Yeah, I
Fair
see him,
enough.
I say hi, but I don't, we don't like talk that much. But,
Yeah.
And that was, by the way, what I said was no means to target
No,
him.
no. That's yeah.
I know a lot of people who are like that, and it's funny the second that they stop doing that, the second they stop partying and hanging out and being a cool person, the opportunities for them start to dwindle. So there is a merit to moving out there because I think you socialize with the right people, and knowing the right people is extremely helpful in entertainment. You
Kind
know,
of
it
just being in the
is.
proximity of decision makers.
For sure.
Yeah.
But if you can't make it happen in New York City, then
You can make it here. You can make it anywhere,
yeah,
right?
come on, man.
Pack it up.
Yeah, exactly.
Go home.
If you can't make it happen in New York City, and I'll tell you what, it's there's some good and some bad to it. You're gonna meet people who can help. I think in New York, in my experience, there's a lot more people who are really out there working hard. And I shouldn't say that. There's hard workers in LA too. But I feel like LA is a little bit more talky.
Yeah, I
New
mean,
York, I feel like it's a lot more, there's a lot more doers. In
you know what I think it is too, because with New York or in the East Coast, you actually have seasons when you see people hustling the same, but it's cold
Yep.
here. It makes it seem like they're
You
doing
still
it
gotta
so
go
much
out to
harder.
shows. You still got to go to your shows in the snow, man.
Yeah,
So it's good because you're still going to have people who are movers and shakers in New York. The bad part of it is the competition. The bar is set very high. So you go and play a show, you might not be the best band at that show at that time. You're
happens.
going to have to pick yourself up. We definitely got put in our place a couple times. Now, some of that is limitations of finances. Some of that is limitations of what they allow. Like, we played one show that I was very excited for, and the two bands, they were beautiful, wonderful people, but they made us play in literally a quarter of the stage, off center. So we played on like the far left front of the stage, really hard to play well.
Really hard to command the stage in that respect.
Yeah, and especially there's two of us, so
only two of you.
Only two of us. So it's not like we have like a drummer in the center that's like
a guitar and a mic.
Yeah, guitar and me singing. So it's tough, and you know sometimes, and then the band that was the headliner for that show made us look real silly real fast.
Yeah,
and they killed it, and they're really really good live. But they have these huge light towers and these LED panels, and you know all this show.
Now I know what show you're talking about.
Yeah.
You know what makes it hurt worse? When they're cool. Like when they're not
they were
dicks
so cool.
about it.
Super
Yeah,
nice.
They're,
By the way,
so nice you can't even be mad at them. So like you can't even give me the satisfaction.
The band's called Transviolet. You should listen to them. They're really dope. Yeah. And again, it's not they were so nice to us. They were really cool. I had a great time watching them. I had a great time playing with them. But they made us look real bad. You know?
So one of my favorite things to talk about, I did an episode, I had Drew and Tony and my friend Brian, he's a guitar player when we were in the cover band.
Yeah.
We were talking about like horror stories from shows, like just shows that went bad, you know, times we screwed up.
Got him.
We got him.
I want to hear them because it's so much fun.
He knows which one I will bring up immediately.
It's gonna be Party Expo.
Party
right?
Expo. Party Expo.
So we got a show in Brooklyn.
Now keep on, we're talking all time here.
I mean, this is all time.
This is pretty bad.
This is all time.
We're even going back to like the Hamilton Street days.
Oh,
Hamilton Street was a dream. Are you kidding me? Kids came. They were cool. You know.
Yeah. Just wait till you hear about the Party Expo, my friend.
We played a show at this. We booked it where it was a bar called the Party Expo. So we're like, we're playing this bar called the Party Expo in Brooklyn.
Sick.
We drive all the way out to Brooklyn. It is not a bar called Party Expo. It is a Party Expo, which is a knockoff Party City
that is defunct.
that has been abandoned.
Yeah.
And two kids moved into it.
Like to live?
Yes. We're living in the office above a disused retail space. And throwing shows there to pay their rent.
Oh, that's super hipster.
We pulled up and I was like, nope.
Now,
let's go home.
The whole band, by the way, was like, no. Ross was like, no. Our drummer at the time was like, no.
Well, he was on the fence.
Ross was
band
not
was
on the
this?
fence.
Oh, I thought he was. Yeah.
This was Love Automatic.
Okay.
Yeah, this was Love Automatic.
Ross wanted to go, Glitta wanted to go, you wanted to go, PJ wanted to go, and I was like, no, man, like, we said we'd play, like, I feel bad, and we totally should have left. Instead, we played. The PA was like on the floor. It was like cracking and crunching and terrible. You couldn't hear anything. And then these people just had like their drunk
squatter friends, right?
Homeless
people, essentially.
And like one of them tried to like fight me while I was in the middle of our set. I had Frank, PJ's buddy.
Oh yeah.
Thankfully, our guitar player PJ, he was from Armor for Sleep and then joined us. He like had his big friend Frankie like throw this kid off of me, but it was literally we were playing in an abandoned
there was
retail
6
space.
people we didn't know. One of them tried to fight Brent.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, which is a weird thing. I've had people try to fight me while I was playing a couple times.
Oh, we got beer bottles thrown at us.
I got a beer bottle thrown at me. That was cool.
Yeah.
I jumped off the stage and beat the crap out of the kid.
It's just like the movie The Dirt.
Pretty much, yeah.
Did you guys see it?
I know exactly what you're talking about, specifically because someone sent that in reference to this story.
Well, there you go.
When I was in Arms Like These, like way back in the day, we were playing with Census Fail at North Star in Philly, and I told the story about my bass going out of tune. And at the time, I didn't have my tuner with me, so it was like this was our big shot. We're playing with like a big band, and the whole thing just got screwed up. So then Drew tried to do a guitar spin, and I was too close to him, and he ended up getting caught on his shoulder and hit himself in the chin. So after that, we were all like, despondent. We were like, we just blew it. Like, this was our chance. So then I'm sitting out at the bar, and these 2 girls come up, and I start talking to them, and I'm thinking, like, all right, at least I can, get a number. And then some drunk guy comes out. He's like, hey, I know you from the band. He goes to come up and shake my hand and just, like, smacks my beer right into my lap. Like, right as I'm about to talk to this girl. And I'm like, thanks for coming, bro. I was like, all right, I'm just going to go hang myself now.
Yeah, it's a bad feeling. I'll tell you, it's bad just when you have to play for
drunk
5 people. Oh my God, Arcadia Fest.
What's that?
We played an outdoor
Was this
festival.
Skate Fest?
Dude, no.
That was Skate or Die.
That was
I
Oh,
remember
Skate-
that.
and that
You
was
know
actually
what that
fun.
is.
Yeah, you guys get to play on a real stage. I get to play on the goddamn
On a
ramps.
mini ramp. We played on the stage for a lot of kids, and that was when Pellegrino was still doing
Moraine?
Moraine. Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah,
I don't
oh
know
my
why I
God.
couldn't think of that.
Yeah.
But
You're bringing back so many memories
dude,
right now.
so good, dude. But we played an outdoor festival called Arcadia Fest. The headliner was Tantric.
No shit. Don't laugh. I actually own 2 of their albums.
Oh,
and
man.
I'm not gonna lie. Some of those songs
You're
still
gonna
come
edit
up.
that part out, right?
No, I'm keeping it. Fuck, I do that. I have a policy. I have no shame about what I listen to. Some stuff
I'll
I
tell you
like.
what, that's a good policy.
They had a pretty badass cover of The Chain by Fleetwood Mac. I'll give them that.
Okay, well, maybe I'll have to listen to it.
I mean, if
maybe
you
I'll
like,
reserve judgment.
Yeah.
All the tantric fans that listen to your podcast are gonna hate me.
listen, whatever, man.
But
we
we
are a
played-
no shame podcast
Oh
here.
God, we played. It was an outdoor festival. I gave
Weren't people in the stand? Like
people
no,
were sitting
in
in
lawn chairs.
Yes, okay, now I remember. It's just coming back
People,
to me
there was
now.
like we played on this huge stage, like a festival-sized stage, for like 8 people in lawn chairs who were sitting in lawn chairs drinking like Coors Light aluminum
When's
pints,
Tantric coming out?
like waiting for Tantric. And I wore like a job for a cowboy T-shirt because I gave so few. Like
That's right. I'm
F's
sure
about it.
none of those people knew who that band was either.
No, which but it was
Job
just
for a
funny 'cause
cowboy.
My electronic.
He come through Nashville often.
Yeehaw.
My electronic pop dance band, and I was in a Job for a Cowboy T-shirt playing for 8 60-plus people in lawn chairs. That was a bad one too. And then, well, I'm not gonna say that because I'm gonna hurt somebody's feelings.
Yeah, we were.
You could leave out key pieces
I had
of
a bad
information.
personal experience with somebody who kind of uncomfortably stalked me. That
Haven't we all?
I ran into in person for I think the first time ever that day, and had a really really bad
Really?
experience.
Well, I mean, can you get into like
She
bad
like
in what
melted
way?
down like a racer head shake. I thought it was going to explode,
Oh,
and then
boy.
like ran away and fell down while she was running away and hurt herself.
Jesus
Yeah,
Christ.
it was like a whole thing. I'm lip syncing.
Is that what I
I'll tell you who it was.
Oh,
later.
yeah.
I don't want to
What?
hurt. There's a very good chance that we'll post this and they'll listen to it. The first time I ever met her was at that show.
She had an episode, like a moment.
She bugged out. Her head almost exploded, and then she literally sprinted away from me as fast as humanly possible and fell down while she was running, like full, like deer antelope sprint,
Wow.
and wiped out and landed on like her collarbone. Yeah.
All right, we'll cut this out. So,
Yeah.
Tony had a stalker for a little while.
I bet you he had a couple stalkers.
we
that
just
handsome-
knew him
handsome
as
young
creepy
man.
kid. The
was
kid
a-
actually.
Was it a dude stalker?
Oh, it was a dude.
Oh, that's cool.
Like it was like a
that's
weird
nice.
like emo like feminine kid, and apparently like I don't know if this is just part of his lore. They said he was a drug dealer also, and he paid Tony $100 to buy his like used hoodie from him. And it was one of those like super scene hoodies where it's like black but had like all these silver like stars and like just gaudy, terrible looking.
Yeah.
It was just really weird. And the kid would show up at every show. And this is when like Sparks was still around.
Yeah.
So the kid was
It's
always there.
It's
the
tough,
alcoholic
too.
energy drink, Sparks.
No, the
No.
venue.
The
remember?
venue. Remember in
Oh,
Bridgewater?
okay, I got real
There
excited.
used to be bazookas in Bridgewater.
Nah, I remember
we're
that.
not talking about that. The
All right.
alcoholic energy.
Catch a
drinks,
show
folks.
and eat some chicken wings.
Unless they're still around and they want to sponsor me, because then we can talk about it.
Listen, my friend Mike was in here a couple weeks ago. He's sponsored by Fleshlight.
I don't know if I have the balls to do that. No, wait, no pun intended. But I don't know if
sure
I
they
can be
make
like
them with
sponsored by
balls.
Flashlight. I feel like we can't be associated with anything fun because all my stuff is so dark. Like, I feel like if we're like sponsored by like anything fun, I'm
We're
a
A
fraud.
Graves. Enjoy Fun Dip.
Exactly. I feel like anything that we would be sponsored by that would be associated with pleasure or enjoyment would be fraudulent.
Yeah. I'm kind of waiting for my call from Manscaped.
There you go.
With the beard, bald head, hairiness. Like,
Yeah, dude.
It's a match made in heaven.
100%.
You guys-
Let's make it happen.
Hit me up.
You're gonna start having ads in your podcast.
Listen, this is episode 21 right now.
That's pretty good, dude.
So we just started in January. So
21
we're a
episodes
ways off.
in 6 months?
Every Thursday. We
That's
come out
amazing,
every
dude.
Thursday. We
Good
don't
for
miss,
you, man.
We don't miss a week. Thank you very much.
That's awesome, man.
One of the best titles for a podcast I've heard. I think I commented on
You did.
Facebook.
Thank you very
It was
much,
like
by the way.
when you just started. I
Yeah.
was like, this is an amazing title. I just want
That's
to put
great,
that into
dude. That's
audio.
really cool.
You know, not a lot of people really like kind of grasped like what that was.
I think they're just not saying anything because it's really good.
Oh. Thank you.
Yeah, man.
I'm gonna have to trademark.
Or
this shit.
you gotta
should.
remember,
You gotta.
some folks are not.
Yeah,
that
not
clever
everybody's
here,
working with a
but-
full deck. You know what I mean?
especially on Facebook.
No, well, listen. The next step is I'm actually gonna make a studio.
Oh, nice.
So I told you I was house hunting.
Yeah.
One of my prerequisites was it has a room that I could claim as my own. I'm gonna soundproof the bitch, and it's gonna be the studio. We're
That's
gonna
dope, dude.
eventually we're gonna get cameras and we're gonna do
it big.
a real YouTube channel instead of just audio only shit.
Yeah.
That nobody's really listening to. Everybody listens to like actual like iTunes and Spotify and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's I don't know where the hell I'm going with that. That's irrelevant to all of this shit.
That's goals, man.
Well, we all have goals.
Yeah.
You know.
At least you should. If you don't, get some.
Amen to that. So now that we're talking about like the old days and all these horror stories, how do you feel like the scene itself has changed since, like, for instance, in the past decade since we used to play shows together? Like now you guys are, you kind of in a different.
Is there a scene?
Well, first of all, I live under one rock road because I live literally under a rock and don't actually pay attention to anything. But like, I will say that the fans of the scene look exactly the same. They have the same haircut. They wear the same belts. They wear the same pants. It's have you seen any of anything?
Not so much.
That's what I mean.
Listen,
I don't listen to
my
the music.
life
but
now is work and Pokemon with my son. That's about it for me.
Yeah, I'm
solid.
kind of jealous actually, but the kids who go to shows are still, and I say kids, but like the people who are going to shows when they're 15, if they're 30 now, they're still going to shows and they're still kind of into the same thing.
Well, yeah, that original scene, like you know.
I think kids is just
Set of
like the
people.
term. Instead of fans, we just switched.
But there are kids that are, 15 to 19,
they're the new blood, right?
And it's like kind of keeping it alive. I feel like
the difference is, and it goes back to the music industry becoming a little bit more complex and consolidated. Is the big bookers, right? Like Live Nation and AEG Live, they own like everything now. So whereas we used to have little places like Hamilton Street where like the local bands could go and play and like the three of us could call each other and be like, yo, let's throw a show on the 21st, right?
Now it's first show, Collins putting on a show.
Exactly, right? Or Miss Collins or whoever it was. Now it's like, you want to play this venue, you can email this multi-million-dollar company
It's kind of like
and
corporatized.
hope that the guy who handles New York City will give you a support slot for, because again, it used to be somewhat tiered, right? So if you had like this small venue, it was known as like the place that up and comers would play, and they would have like a really knowledgeable, think of like Maxwell's in Hoboken, right? They would
just drove by it today.
Awesome place. They used to be known for having the people that booked shows there knew the bands and got awesome people. You could go and see Bayside, for instance, at Maxwell's with like 60 other people. And the ticket prices were still reasonable. And the guys who were in those really cool bands would go and play there because they liked Maxwell's. And they liked the people that ran the shows. So there was like a personal relationship there that bookers had with bands. And it made it so that you could have things like Hamilton Street. You could have things like Maxwell's. Now, if you want a Maxwell-sized venue, it's 100% going to be booked by Live Nation. And what's the problem with that? Same people that own Live Nation do Ticketmaster. So they basically go to these venues and they go, you want to use Ticketmaster to sell tickets, right? Because everybody does. You're going to book all Live Nation events. That's all you're going to have. So even small bars are under the thumb of these corporate bookers. They don't have somebody in-house buying talent. They're literally getting, here's your shows for the month. And if you want to book a show on the off day, you can do that. But what small venue is going to be like, I'm going to pay a booker to book 5 dates a month? Like, it's not worth it to them. So you have these promoters that come in, and we all know how it goes when it's like the half-assed promoter who does like 2 shows a month, how those shows run, right?
Yeah, been on a few of those.
2 of the bands cancel, one of the bands never confirmed, but they thought they were coming, right? And there's 7 bands on the bill because they're going to make money off of ticket sales. They're going to get a percentage, and they're never going to be able to get any band that actually draws. So
But they
they're going
expect
to book
every band
7
to sell their
bands,
own
and
tickets,
exactly. Or they're going to ask you to sell tickets, which on principle I will never do.
Yeah, those days are over now.
No, unless somebody wants to, like, if they're like, you sell 100 tickets, you could open for Billie Eilish. I'm like, all right, I'll just buy the 100 tickets right now. But like, I'm not going to do that to play like some bar.
I feel like in my life it would have been like, you sell 100 tickets, you get to open for Billy Ocean. Okay,
Yeah,
I would go
dude.
for that in a
I
second.
would do that now.
Oh yeah.
I'll sell tickets for Billy Ocean right now. If he ever hears this, he knows. But hashtag Billy Ocean. But the
Hey, I'm gonna cut you off for 1 sec,
Yeah.
so I don't forget it. But you mentioned Maxwell's in Hoboken.
yeah, dude.
And I told you the story about being in Philly and the guy spilling the beer on me. Literally the night before we were opening for Census Fail again, and now Hoboken, since it's so close to home, a lot of our friends came out.
Yeah,
and my
yeah.
friend was home from the Marines.
And that was a big show for you guys.
That was a huge show
Yeah.
for us at the
I
time.
remember being very jealous. Very jealous of you guys. Happy for you, but jealous.
Thank you. Our singer quit like 2 weeks after that, or like 2 months after that. That was Pete.
Pete?
Yeah.
Oh, Pete. Yeah.
Tony's so much better than Pete.
And we lucked out with Tony. It just took a while to find him. But so we were getting ready for that show, and two of my friends were at the bar. I guess my friend is back from the Marines, and he's like, "All right, let's do some shots." So they ordered 2 shots. They get some tequila, whatever the fuck they were drinking. So they throw back the shots. Like, all right, great. So the one friend, he was looking at somebody. He turns back, and there's just a pile of vomit right on the bar.
Oh.
And the other friend, the Marine, is gone.
Oh, no.
yeah.
And as soon as he looked for my other friend. He's gone, and the bartender comes like, "Yo, you throw up on the fucking bar, man?" No, it wasn't me. It was somebody else. And he ended up getting thrown out.
For someone else's
Poor
puke.
guy.
Oh my.
Oh wait, no, maybe I'm lying. I don't know if he got thrown out, but he was like extremely awkward. It was George.
Oh. Well, George,
I don't think he got thrown out. Actually, I think I made that up.
either way, you got yelled at by the bar. If you get chastised by a bartender, that's
Yeah.
Getting
that's not-
accused for someone else's vomit. That's a first.
Well, that's for
Yeah,
my
you don't
friend-
want to be that guy either.
Well, that friend that threw up, my friend Corey.
You look like a puker.
He was notorious for throwing up places. Like he was not good with his alcohol.
That's not good, man.
He threw up on my birthday all over the door at TGI Fridays.
You don't want to be that guy. Not the puker.
Well, he's a Marine. You'd think he would be better holding his alcohol.
I don't know.
He's a great dude.
Do they get to drink that much when they're like out?
Bro, come on.
No, do they have booze in like
if you get
Afghanistan?
stationed, in like Okinawa, there's nothing else to do but work out and drink.
Well, I mean,
Think about it. Like you're just on the base.
I would just be traveling to like play video games in
Yeah.
Japan just to
He
make
was-
my experience more authentic.
He actually told me he was stationed in Okinawa. He actually went out like into the city and they went to a Kill Switch Engage show, and it just so happened that like they ended up going to a bar afterwards and the band was there and they got to drink with them and they're like,
rad.
he didn't even know who the hell they were. And I was
Oh
like,
my
bro,
God.
Kill Switch Engage. Like, it was
Wow. Yeah,
teen
you just get to
days.
see that. That's
Just
awesome.
a total coincidence.
See, now it's like we want to play a show, so we call a venue and we're like, we're gonna book our own show, and they're like, you have the 8th hold, so if 7 other people cancel, then you get to have a show. It's like, cool. That's how it is now.
Yeah.
Different times, man.
It is very
It's just
different.
like happen upon a random awesome show, and
It's just, yeah.
now it's like, no, that thing's planned for like 8 months by some corporation. Not the same.
Still waiting to like run into somebody famous in some like fortuitous, rendezvous. See like Pat Benatar at the coffee shop or something.
That would be pretty sick. I
That'd be
saw
pretty
Tom
awesome.
Morello eating pizza
Really?
with Julian. Yeah, my friend Julian's a bass player for this band Young Rising Suns, and they DJ'd emo night in Brooklyn. They were like guest DJs. And afterwards we went to get pizza, and Tom Morello was sitting down. And I didn't want to bug him, so I just like knocked on the window and just was like, thumbs up.
You gave him the thumbs
I
up.
did.
The famous thumb.
Dude, I give the thumbs up and
famous
everyone makes fun of
thumb.
me for it, dude.
Because it photo bombs.
Well,
The thumb will disappear.
we went to my friend Dimitri's concert, and he was playing for. He's a DJ. He was playing for like
It was like the money shot from the photographer, like the
he's like,
crescendo of the
and
night.
everyone's like, and I'm like in the corner with my thumb up like a loser, the worst. I ruined photos.
I was in New York a couple weeks ago. I ran into I didn't run into him, but I saw him. Pedro Pascal.
Yeah,
I guess he's in a play, and he was out. Just happened to be walking out, and he was just like talking to like the crowd outside. And I wanted to
cool.
stop, and I got too nervous.
I always feel like I'm bothering.
I get like, I don't want to say starstruck, but I don't want to like come up and just be like, "Oh, hi, sir. I really enjoy your work," and I want to tell you about how
You don't want to be that guy.
Yeah, I don't want to do it.
I think you should hit him with the like, thank you for what you do, huge fan, and then just bail, right? Like I think you could give him like a quick acknowledgement. I think anybody who doesn't enjoy that is like a scumbag.
Yeah,
But
True.
to ask for like a lot of their time is like for
You should be wrapping up the conversation once it starts.
as soon as your mouth
Yeah,
opens, it
exactly,
should be
yeah.
ending.
Yeah.
Like even for me, like I feel bad, and we're nobody, right? And I feel bad because I don't have the time to answer the messages that we get now in a day. Like I have to find like a 2 or 3 hour gap in the week somewhere where I can just answer our comments and stuff. And that's me, right? That's us. So imagine like somebody who's actually like famous, right? What they must be getting bombarded with at every moment of every day has got to be, you know, it's got to be a lot, because I am on a 1 on the 1 to 10. I'm a 0 on the 1 to 10 fame scale. And it's hard for me to answer like the volume of stuff that we get. So like somebody who's actually has any notoriety whatsoever must be just swamped, dude. And you probably want to answer, right? Like you probably want to be nice, but it's hard.
It's weird. And you know what I mean? I always feel it's a similar type of awkwardness as it would be like at a funeral where you don't know what to say. It's like, I mean, it's not sad, obviously, but it's like, I don't know. Like, it's so uncomfortable. I don't even want to.
Yeah, what the social cue is.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I had an excuse. Like, we both actually, we used to work at Best Buy. You know that, right? We used to work there. Yeah, so I'm over in the appliance department, and in comes Ray. I don't know his last name, but the guitarist from My Chem. And he's like looking for a DVD. So I was able to actually talk to him and say, "Can I help you with anything?" And he was like, "No, I'm good." I'm like, "All right, no problem. Have a good day." So I was able to talk to him without having to figure out what I needed to say. I was just able to interact. Yeah, so
I think just hit him with the quick, huge fan, man. Yeah. Appreciate what you do. Thank you.
I went to a comedy show last night, and it was actually these guys, the Well Read comedy tour. You're familiar with like Trey Crowder and Drew Morgan.
Yeah.
They came through New Brunswick.
Oh, cool.
So me and my wife went, and they were cool. They were just hanging out. Like the show hadn't even started yet, and I saw one of them. He was just sitting there having a beer. And I kept kind of doing that look like at the side of my eye, try not to be obvious.
Yeah.
But it's like I have this thing like with podcasts because I listen all day at work, and it's almost like that's kind of become. Like, cause I don't, if I'm working all day, I'm not hanging out with friends and stuff.
Yeah.
You feel like you know these people,
right?
Well, I think you do, like especially if it's a one man podcast, like like we were talking about Congratulations with Chris D'Elia. It's him talking for an hour, man. Like I feel
him
like
being himself.
Exactly.
So those nuances, like you feel like you can attach yourself to.
But that's the trick, though. It's like
but it's a one-way mirror.
Yeah, you know them, but they don't know you.
But that's again, any sane person recognizes that, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
And that's why. But see, that's the other side of this is, I imagine people really appreciate the thank you, I love what you do. Sometimes you get the hope you're having a good day, and I'll be like, I am. I hope you are too. And then they'll be like, well, I'm not. And this is my problem, and can you help me? And it's kind of like, I wish that I could help everyone. Like, I wish that I had answers to people's problems, but like, I'm like, I don't know.
We don't have the answers.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know if you've listened to our songs, but I don't have the answers either.
Wrote a song about it. Like,
how do I not be depressed? I'm like, I don't know if you've been paying attention, but I don't know. If you've listened to our songs, I don't know.
Kind of working on it myself.
Yeah, like I don't know. So it's tough because some people.
It's dangerous to engage that kind of conversation.
I'm not equipped.
You tend to kind of take on people's problems. Like if you're actually gonna,
it's a slippery slope.
Yeah.
God forbid I gave somebody bad advice and I hurt them somehow, or like you always have to be. I try to draw that line with I'm here. I hear you and I love you and I want to support you because I mean that like.
Of course.
The kids that support our music, man, like I'm pretty raw about like what I have to say, and I feel like if you're supporting, I always say we don't have fans, man. Like my music is, like my lyrics and what I say are so personal, and like that's why Nick is so important to me. I don't know that I could share it with anybody who wasn't him, right? I've known him for 15 friggin' years now, and I don't know if I could like even write the songs that we write with anybody other than him. So if a person is really listening to what we create, they know me. And if they're supporting me after knowing what they know, then I really do love them. I mean, I love these kids. Like, I love these people. But and I want to be like, I'm here for you, and I love you, and I want to support you, but like I don't have the answer to people's problems. So it's always awesome to get those messages that are like, love what you do. That's the best. And I don't know how it happened, but if you go on our YouTube channel,
Don't jinx it.
I know.
Because if someone listens to this, they're going to be like,
they're going to do it.
Don't worry, nobody listens to this.
We have two
Yeah, you're
negative
there,
comments. I've answered every single comment on our YouTube page. We have 2 negative comments. And one of them was like, I don't like the drums are too loud. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry you feel that way. And they were like, but the rest of the song is awesome. And the other negative one just said garbage. And I was like, I'm sorry you feel that way. And they said, it's not even about the song. Actually, the song's not that bad.
Yeah.
But you guys keep coming up in my suggested on YouTube, and it's frustrating that you keep popping up in it. So I was like, I'm sorry, we don't really have any control over that, right? But like, we have had 2 negative comments. The people that have connected with us have been so kind, dude. Like, we have the one YouTube channel in the universe that doesn't have like, it's not like a cesspool of negativity. So
And I've done musical projects, prior to this, where it's just a cesspool.
Oh yeah. Well, I feel like most places.
Dude,
on
Love
the internet,
Automatic, dude.
Really?
We used to get ripped apart, and like, not even really, like, mostly people calling me gay as if that's like an insult. I'm like, okay, so what if I am? But like, in a meant to be harmful way that would never hurt my feelings anyway, because I don't understand why that's an insult. But it was.
Oh, I'm gay. Wait a minute, bro. You sucked my dick.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
I'm like, yeah. And if I was, what's the point? But it was like people meaning to be harmful.
No, I get you.
And obviously not really. I'm pretty good at not really getting too phased by that stuff. But Love Automatic was bad. We got ripped apart. But this band, for whatever reason, this project, we have the nicest people supporting us. It's so awesome.
Let me ask you something. I mean, like, we just talked about how, like, a lot of the songs, it's a very emotional, kind of raw, like you said. Yeah. Do you find yourself like holding back sometimes? Like, how raw? You know what I mean? Like, how much do you put into it? Because I know for me, like, I mean, I'm no writer by any stretch, and the times that I have written, it's been too raw. Like, you start putting pen to paper, and the stuff just pours out, and it's like, all right, nobody else can see this shit. You know what I mean? Like,
the thing that people don't think about is like my mom listens to them. Yeah. Like, my best friend is the first one that hears it. Nick hears it, and like, I have to tell him what it's about. Mm-hmm. So I have to straight up go to my best friend and be like, this is about me, about the time that I most desperately thought about killing myself. Or, I mean, that's what a lot of the songs are about, or like me, just my plight of like the futility of existing as a human being, right? And talk about my helplessness and my depression. And it's a lot for Nick. By the way, Nick's an extremely functional person. Yeah. He's like very together and very mentally.
One of the most composed people I've ever met.
Very much. And didn't used to be that way. Did a lot of work to become that way. Very proud of you. But I have to take it to him. Then my mom listens to the songs, and that's the thing, is there's always this
and my mom does too.
I know.
Is Brent okay?
All the time.
I'm like, Mom, no, he's not.
My mom will literally be like, "You're not gonna kill yourself, are you?" Like, literally, had to ask me that on the phone, And again, my family is lovely, amazing people. Like, sometimes and Nick's family is lovely, amazing people. Sometimes that's the reason that you want to hold back, is you're like, do you really want the people that you love to really know that this is how bad you're struggling? Mm-hmm. And if you listen to the early 8 Grave songs, they were pretty dark, but not like they are now. Like, what really did it for me was I kind of dipped my toe in the water a little bit, and then realized there was other people swimming in the pool and the water was fine.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I think both sonically and lyrically, the pivotal point would be Hang.
You know what it was?
Where it was more...
that song specifically too, I wanted to talk about tonight.
Yeah. So Hang, we wrote that song to a different instrumental, and when I wrote the song originally, the instrumental made it sound sad, mm-hmm. and it was actually about somebody else that I know who I think gets taken advantage by people a lot because they don't feel confident in themselves, mm-hmm. and they kind of allow people to take advantage of them. And I've watched for a long time this individual get stolen on by a lot of people. And I actually wrote the song kind of more about him than about me. Mm-hmm. I've always kind of been a little bit of a loner. I never ran in like a big crowd. I've always had like my 4 or 5 tights. And then, I've had like my starting 5. Mm-hmm. I got my basketball squad.
It's like the Groucho Marx approach. I wouldn't want to be a member of any club. I wouldn't want to be in any club that would have me as a member.
It's true. Pretty much.
Yeah.
And some of the funny thing is sometimes I think about it, maybe the reason I've hung out with people that I felt like I was a pack leader is because I'm scared to hang out with anybody who challenges me. And that's why I think Nick is awesome, because Nick
Very introspective.
Nick, right?
Yeah.
But Nick really does push me in ways that are positive. But Hang, I wrote over a different instrumental that really sounds sad, right? The original instrumental made it sound more like sad.
But not even initially. I mean, if you really got into it, you started paying maybe a couple passes through the song, you'd be like, okay, this is sad.
Yeah.
But like because of the sonic texture behind it originally, I think it was a little bit more of an upbeat feel.
Maybe, but I thought it was like kind of melancholic. And then when Nick redid the instrumental, it became very like sinister.
Yeah, because it's still not a happy song.
No, I mean, it never was meant to be.
Yeah.
But it went from being like, I'm sad this happens to me, to I'm totally okay with this, and let's all be pieces of shit together.
Yeah, it kind of
right?
seems like there's more of like an acceptance. Like,
Exactly.
this is the way it is. This is the way the world is
And
going
we
to be.
don't care
This is
who
how
we
I'm gonna-
hurt. We don't care
Yeah.
who falls victim to it. We don't care how it happens, because we're just not good people, right? And that evil tone that Nick added behind it kind of gave it that feel and made it way darker than it was intended to be. It went from like, I'm being taken advantage of, to like, fuck everybody and we're all pieces of shit and we love it.
Just like the lyrics from Wolves. If I get to stay in hell, I want the throne.
Yeah, and that's it, right?
Sure.
And that's like kind
Yeah,
of...
I listen.
Yeah. But I think when Nick changed that instrumental part, and then the song did so well, that was when I was like, I can cut loose a little bit. I can be a little bit more comfortable being dark.
Because before that, you would be like, I can't say this, can I?
Yeah.
You'd have a couple of those moments, and I'd be like, dude, just do whatever you want to do. But
Yeah.
it paved the way, yeah.
And that was all thanks to him, you know. And then we started putting out there and getting the kids involved, and you know, our friends. Again, I don't like to use the word fan. I use friends, but our friends who we've met through YouTube and Twitter and other social media that identified with that, you know. Because again, if you're into like that, if you have that dark creative side to you, I don't know where you go, man. I don't know. And again, now it's starting to become a little bit of a thing. Like now there's like, I think Billie Eilish is a really good example. But I don't know where, up until like maybe the last 18 months, where you would have gone for that.
Mm-hmm.
Who was there for you? You know, like if you're young and you're looking for an up and coming thing that's small enough that you can identify with it, I don't think it was a roster spot that was being filled. And as we put more music out there and kids really started to connect and be like, this is help. The main thing I hear all the time is this is helping me, right? Like sometimes the dark thoughts that you have, the dark feelings that you have, it's not about indulging them. It's just about knowing that other people have them too.
Yeah, that's a big thing. It's just knowing you're not the only one experiencing something.
I'm not completely crazy. And I've been able to write in a way, and Nick has been able to help me present it in a way that it's accessible. Again, going back to the package argument, that was one things why I never wanted to be in a metal band, because you would think, oh, you write these super dark lyrics, but you just turn off so many people.
It's very abrasive.
Yeah, it's a little too abrasive of a package for me, because I always say if I want to say something, I want as many people as possible to hear it. So that's why metal, like being in a metal band, never really appealed to me. And I listen to a ton of metal, and I love it.
I love metal too, and that was
Rings
always
of Saturn. Like they're like on my daily playlist, you know.
well, that was always one of my biggest problems with metal is that you would have some amazing lyricists in these bands, but when it's like, you know, the screaming, a lot of times you don't even, the lyrics never come
Understand it.
across. People don't hear it. They don't understand what they're saying.
It's gone.
Like Parkway Drive, those are some of the best lyrics I've ever heard. And
At least the
most
old records.
Oh,
You like the new records?
I love the Atlas.
I'm not big on the new record, man.
Atlas, dude.
I still
would,
love that band, and I'll still listen to
I would
Horizons
put that up
every day.
as one of my favorite albums.
Yeah, it's a good. They're
Even
they're
up-
so sick.
Even up there with Horizons, in
Great,
my opinion.
great live show too.
Oh yeah.
But we are able to package it in a way. Thanks, you know, Nick has been able to help me package it in a way. What I have to say in a way that like we come together on it, and it's really accessible. It's really like kind of easy to get at, even though it's pretty dark and the message of it can be a little hard to digest at times. Just not because it's presented in a complex way, but just because that's a hard pill to swallow.
Yeah.
You know. So
Well, that's, I mean, getting back to, you know, putting it all out there, so to speak, like that's something, I mean, I've worried about it here on the show because, like you said, like your parents listen. I found out that my mom was listening and I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Like I gotta go back and listen. I didn't say anything about her, did I?
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's, the whole idea is you want to be authentic with the people that are listening, but you know, you got to save a little something just for yourself. You know what I mean? Like,
I think
how much do you
I think
really
you do
feel?
and you don't, though. I think.
That's where it's the line. Is what I don't know.
Look, if we all have situations where, like, you want to tell your boss, like, yo,
Don't worry, the place might burn down. It's not a
I
problem.
will be fine.
That's fine.
You want to tell your boss, yo, I don't like the way you're doing this. You're not going to go up to him and be like, yo, the way that we do this is stupid, and we're not doing it anymore. I have a better
used to do
idea.
that. That's why I have a new job.
Yeah, but you were right. You know, you might go up to them and say, hey, I had this really great idea, and it actually came from an idea that you had the other day that kind of made me think this way. And what do you think about this? You know, you inspired me to come up with this, and you know, it sucks that you have to do that, but you're dealing with human ego. So there's always creative ways to say things that you want to say that maybe are not so abrasive and maybe are not so off-putting.
I feel like a lot of people don't understand the value in that. Just
Nuance is lost,
oh man,
Really
right?
is.
Like, we were talking about Billy Ocean before, right?
okay.
Hey, you get into my car, right? That song is straight up about banging a chick in the back of your car. If that song was out today, it'd be like, yo ho, let's fuck in my range, right? Like, it would be
Yeah.
like, it would be so
They
lost.
don't beat around the bush anymore.
Yeah, it would be so lost of nuance. And at the end of the day, the message is 0% different. But the way it's said and the artistry behind saying something in a different way is becoming very lost. And I think some of that is because we have all of 3 songwriters writing everything, and you know,
I mean,
you know more about that than I do.
records sell because people listen to them, and if people are listening to them, it's what they want to hear.
Of
right?
course, but
Yeah.
not that I'm saying there's anything wrong with that. But I'm just saying we've been absorbing through popular music the way that essentially 5 people write.
You're talking, yeah. I know
Like
what you
Max
mean.
Martin, for instance, right? Like, writes like all the pop songs, like all the pop songs, since like Backstreet Boys, right? And we're just used to hearing people say the same things kind of the same way. So to kind of go out of your box and say something, go out of the box and say something a little different, like, and people are hungry for that, dude. Like, you know, I always say Billie Eilish. It might be Billie Eilish, but the proper pronunciation should be Eilish based on this spelling. But so I'm gonna keep saying it that way. But I'm bringing her name up 100 times. I'm clearly like a fanboy.
It's 13 times so
Is
far.
it?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
We have a running tally. I'll tell you at the end. I don't
Awesome. If I hit 50, everyone
wanna
gets a
freak you
free
out.
taco from Steve. But like, she's like she's coming forward and she's writing stuff that's like kind of dark and creepy and different. And there's people are hungry for that stuff, dude. And people are hungry for voices that are different.
Well, let me ask you this. You brought up an interesting point. Like the simplistic nature of a lot of the music nowadays. Like people don't want to, almost you don't want to think about anything too deep, too heavy.
100%.
Do you feel maybe that's a generational thing? Like, you know, a lot of the younger generation now, like not Gen Z, the whatever, iGen, some people call them.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of young people dealing with a lot more anxiety nowadays. A lot of things seem more uncertain. Do you feel like there's almost like that desire for just a little bit of numbing nature of the music? You don't want to think
Like
about anything
escapism?
serious. Yeah. That's a good way to put it. Like, you know, it's just I don't want to think. I don't, you know. I think
that
wasn't
is
there a
the
song
problem.
where there was like
I think
the
that's
catch,
the problem, though.
like the tagline was
Well,
like "fuck a GDP." You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I don't want to
I-
think about anything serious. I just want
I
to.
think that comes with. See, I think young people get a really bad rap, right? I think that right now they live in arguably the most complex time to be a young person.
Absolutely.
It's I can't even imagine, to
Yeah.
be honest with you.
Remember, I always say, like, we experienced things growing up in a very graduated fashion, in the sense that, like, we went from a kindergarten class that was 15 kids to a first grade class that was maybe 20 kids. And then, like, you went to a new school for second and third grade, right? And then, like, your classes might be 30 kids. And then you go to middle school, and now you're switching. You know, you go to fourth, and eventually you're switching, and you meet more people. And now, and then you learn, like, oh, I think that girl's pretty as you come of age to actually think that way. And then you're experiencing sex through the way that you're supposed to, right? I don't understand my feelings, but I'm attracted to this person, and I don't really know. And now it's like, you're 10. Here's a phone. Here's our evil president. Here's hardcore porn. Here's war.
Anything in the world
Here's
ever. Here it is.
orangutans being burned for palm oil, and you're 10. have fun with that.
Yeah. And this is very specific, but this is really disturbing. I found about this the other day. YouTube videos that tell kids how they can end their own lives.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, listen.
Like-
now being a father,
Yeah.
YouTube Kids, it's amazing the stuff that gets through whatever
Yeah.
Even
filters
the
they
filter,
have.
yeah.
So
gosh.
I think, and then on top of that, you have a complete lack of faith in any institution, right? Again, our president's a piece of shit. Politics is a joke. I mean, it probably has been for a while, but the jokeness of it, the hilarity of it.
It's not funny anymore.
Yeah, well, and it's so transparent now.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, that's
So-
one of the things he did. He pulled the veil off. And it's like that thing everybody
Well,
knew
social
was bullshit.
media
We just
pulled the
didn't.
veil off, right?
Yeah.
This is just the first time that we've had somebody as corrupt during this age of transparency. And so you have, and it's not just the president. The president is more of a symptom than he is the cause, right?
yeah.
Like you have all of these senators trying to strip people's health care. I saw this thing that was going viral on Twitter the other day was that Home Depot made a walker for a young child who needed assistance with walking because the family was not getting assistance from their health insurance to have the child walk.
So Home Depot had to step in?
Home Depot stepped in and made a walker out of building materials for
It's
the
awesome,
kid.
but
Well, awesome for them,
Yeah,
but
but, like,
despicable that they should even
why is
have
that
to.
even
It
the
shouldn't,
Right?
it shouldn't be a
Yeah.
thing.
If a kid
Should
needs
not
to
be it.
walk, give the kid a walker. What do they cost to make? $13.
Yeah. Well, no, and listen,
So I think children are absorbing all of this evil.
absolutely.
And then the prospect of having success. College is completely unaffordable and inaccessible. You're going to spend $200,000 to go to a 4-year school, and it's not even going to guarantee you that you're
Gonna have a job.
going to have a
when you come out.
job. And if you do have a job, they're going to pay you $45,000 to $60,000, and your weekly paychecks are going to barely cover your college loans, which is why people are not having kids, right? So they no longer have values associated with you know how it is. You have a kid, you would do anything for them, and a lot of that is what may anchor you and help you kind of stabilize as you get older, right?
Yeah.
So now we have nothing to stabilize them. They have no hope of ever having a complete life. They have no hope of ever being able to provide for themselves. You have kids under the age of 30, like something like 80%. I'm going to say statistics, and I shouldn't because I don't know them, but a ridiculous number of kids.
Really,
30,
Michael Rappaport. We don't fact check.
Well, there we
here.
go. There's a record number of kids of the age of 30, like living with their parents. Like you
Yeah.
can't even have your own space to express yourself sexually or to engage in some of the maybe adult, like maybe you would have a couple more drinks than you would, but you can't because you live with your dad or like.
Well, even going back to that too. I mean, even if you could have your own space to express yourself sexually, people don't know how to anymore because, again, social media and the technologies at our hands. It's people like
have
that face-to-face interaction isn't there.
And also, you're learning about sexual interaction not through experience,
Through
like
porno.
we all did, through not just pornography. Like when we had pornography when we were kids, but it
We
was
had
like a
magazines.
scrambled boob on Channel 99.
Yeah, every
Now
so
it's
often it
like-
would come in clear, and you thought you hit the jackpot.
Now it's like anal gangbang, right?
yeah.
And it's
throat fucking granny.
exactly,
It's
which
terrible.
is like, and it's or now,
I mean, I've
now
watched
the big
it,
thing
but
is
I don't like it.
You know, the biggest trend in porn sites is incest porn right now.
Yeah,
So weird.
Hey, bro, what are you doing?
Yeah, I'm gonna bang my sister. Gross. So
Gross.
Change it, in the words of Chris D'Elia. But but it's like I just don't know how a child processes all of that on their own with no context and no life experience.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's hard for me to get my head around. I'm 36 years old. How does a 14-year-old deal with this?
Of course. Well, that's one of the things. Like our generation, we're old enough to remember life before the internet, but we're also young enough to have grown up with
we're
it.
literally like
last-
the last couple of years.
We
Yeah.
grew up with it. As the internet grew up, we grew up with it.
Yeah,
So,
and,
like,
and our internet was like you had, like AOL, hacking AOL chats.
But we're in that exact sweet spot. You know what I mean?
Yep.
The kids nowadays, it was already there. That's been there since they were.
yeah, like
the
people like 5 years older than us, like I don't know anything about computers. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
You know, that,
But it's
that's-
also, you wonder if it's that sweet spot because it's also, we live in an age where we are completely disconnected from everybody 5 years above us or 5 years below us.
Yeah, you get it. That's
And I think that
interesting
people
point.
our age are extremely isolated because you either find somebody who's in that sweet spot, as you said, with us, or you cannot even talk to people.
Yeah.
And it's weird
Very
that
rare
way.
that you can.
Yeah, it's really weird that way because you have to find that person who chose willingly to abstain from the virtual world by choice. And there's not a lot of people like that.
I feel
love
like a
you,
lot of
Jen.
them are in my family.
My family too. Like literally none of us have like Facebook or you know, and it's awesome, but I also can't marry anybody unless, I'm not Donald Trump wanting to marry my daughter or something,
Well, hey, incest porn is big, he said.
Well, I'll tell you what, maybe the president's inspiring that.
Yeah.
Amongst other awful, disgusting things.
In all fairness, that's...
Yikes.
I haven't been married that long, so there was a period of time when I was single.
Yeah.
I think that stuff kind of predates him.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Speaking of, like, the social media thing, how did you guys build a fan base, so to speak? I know you don't consider them friends.
That's this guy right here.
Me?
Yeah,
Do you
rolled it
use
out.
social media?
Nick kicks my ass into it. I hate social media. I think it's going to kill us all, particularly Instagram.
I
it's tough, too,
barely
because
use it myself, honestly.
It's
Yeah.
like, especially if you're in this arena, like the creative space,
You have to.
You have to.
It's
like,
mandatory.
What do you do if not that?
So it's really hard
Yeah.
because every article you read, every expert will tell you, take advantage of algorithms, right? Like Nick is really smart about this because he's really good with understanding. He's a computer genius, so he's good at understanding the way that things.
Did you
work.
have, by the way, did you have a hacker code name like in the movie Hackers?
I did actually.
Zero Cool or Acid Burn?
No, it was just VB Matrix.
Oh.
VB was a programming language, Visual Basic, and Matrix was my favorite movie. Still is.
One of mine too, as well.
Yeah, the first Matrix is still up there for me too.
I loved
If not my
Revolutions, which is weird because not many people did.
Don't you like the second one?
I love all three of them.
But
And I love the
what's your
Animatrix
favorite
as well.
one? Now?
First one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's my
I
favorite
just
one.
love the whole APU battle in the third one.
Yeah,
Yeah, dude.
absolutely.
Captain Mifune,
Yeah, dude.
that speech.
I
he
just
gives.
watched that the other night too.
Oh man.
But I didn't finish the training program.
I didn't either.
Yeah, so good, dude.
My heart.
And then like the
If
like,
we have to give these bastards our lives, we give them hell before we do.
Yeah, I can quote. I can
Just
quote
quote all three movies.
The scenes of
So
him
good.
just.
yeah.
I don't know why, but I
And
get,
the little,
I get hyped
and
when
the
I
little
see it.
mousy
so
hacker
hype.
kid is like running the ammo boxes.
Yeah.
Like so hyped, dude.
I love that in the Animatrix. He had his own.
Have you watched the Animatrix?
Oh yeah, of course,
I
dude.
speak to so
I was
many
a
Matrix
total
fans.
Fans are like, "What is that?"
Dude, listen, you're dealing with one of the biggest nerds in this county.
Yes.
Okay, so
We're right there, dude.
Matrix, Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, fucking Game of
I'm
Thrones,
gonna get
Star
you,
Wars,
I'm
all
gonna
of
get
it.
you watching anime, and your life's gonna be over, dude.
Listen, bro.
Wait, you don't watch anime?
I mean a little bit. I don't.
No, I'm gonna get you deep.
Wait.
I tried watching
Don't
Attack
say
on Titan.
Okay, I would say don't say Dragon.
Well,
Ball
everybody
Z.
knows Dragon Ball Z. But, I mean, I tried watching Attack on Titan.
You're gonna
Yeah,
start with
I didn't-
you're gonna start with Death Note.
Oh, absolutely.
Really digestible.
Okay, because I didn't watch the Netflix adaptation.
No, don't watch that.
Okay,
That's
I didn't hear good
that's
things.
that's dog shit. You want to
Oh,
watch
yeah,
the real one, and it's
I used
really
to-
awesome, and you'll love it because you're smart, you're very intelligent, so you're gonna like.
Aw,
it's
shucks.
like it's like a very
To
psychological.
me, it's the best gateway anime because it takes such an awesome drama and like supernatural type.
Well, listen, I mean, I
It's
I
not-
watched like
it's not
older
based
stuff.
on,
You
like-
couldn't do it in real life.
No,
which is why
hey,
the movie sucks.
which is why the
Well,
movie sucks.
okay.
Yeah.
But it's also it's not based on like fighting and the animation as much as it is on the story. So you're not so
It's like
focused on like
chess.
the
It's
way
like
it's drawn.
chess.
It
It's
literally
terrible.
is
Yeah.
a cat and mouse crime chess game.
Did you
so
hear
good.
they're actually making a live action version of Akira?
I
Really?
did.
Yeah.
And I'm real
I saw a
nervous about it.
fan.
very,
I
very
saw a
nervous.
fan trailer.
No,
couple years ago.
They're
they
making
get
a legit
in
one,
pre-production right now.
Is it an American?
I believe so. I could have
gonna
Get
sworn.
ready
suck.
for a bunch of CGI bullshit.
I might just be. I might be imagining this, but I could have sworn I heard that Jordan Peele was attached to it in some way.
Okay.
That would make me feel better about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, I remember watching like Ninja Scroll and stuff.
Ninja
Yeah.
Scroll's amazing.
Gundam Wing.
Gun Wing's great.
So one of the other podcasts that I listen to, like the way you are with Billie Eilish.
Yeah.
There's this other podcast that I talk about all the time. They're called Three Ninjas. And
sick.
it's all they do is it's all anime, like nerd stuff.
Yeah,
it's,
yeah.
It's these three guys from Connecticut. Shout out to them. Shout out to Three Ninjas. But
Listen to this. I like
it's
nerd stuff.
it's
Is it-
wildly
Are
entertaining.
their names
That's
like Tum Tum and what's the other name?
Colt.
Colt.
Well, they
And
always
Rocky.
Right.
Rocky
Colt
loves
and Tum.
Emily.
have they in their logo. It's like anime versions of them with the Three Ninjas
That's
mask
cool.
on.
That's amazing.
awesome.
But
I like
it's
that.
cool.
That's pretty dope.
They do a lot of cool like AKAs in the beginning of their show.
Nice.
So, and I came up with a bunch of my own. Like I'm gonna throw out there one of these days, but I don't want to. I'm not gonna bite off them, but I have some pretty good ones.
Sick.
We'll do an adaptation.
We could do it, AKA.
It'll be better than the live action adaptation of Death Note.
I think that's a low bar. Apparently, I haven't seen it.
Don't even waste the data to stream it.
Nope.
Not that, even though you have unlimited, it doesn't matter. But yeah, social media, right?
Social media.
So
this
that's
is-
part of it, though. That's literally right there.
Well, I ask because I'm
It's
in
part
the
of it.
struggle with you guys right
No,
now.
but that's part of it. Is I think just kind of talking about the things that you like, showing the things that you like. I think what people really identify with more than anything is just being yourself, and that's why I was saying earlier about how much of yourself are you willing to share. I think the more of yourself you're willing to share, probably the more quickly that you will grow, assuming that what you have to show is intelligent and creative and somewhat different and not terrible or not. It's really hard. I tread this line a lot with being creative because you want to share what you want to share, but there's always this line where you feel like you're being almost arrogant for being like, listen to me, watch me.
Why would anybody want to hear what I have to say?
100%, and that's what I said to you. I've been wanting to start a podcast for a while, but there's this air of like, do people really give a shit about what I have to say?
Yeah, I deal with it every time I press upload.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like sometimes you just have to do it for the sake of like I'm gonna have cool conversations that I'm gonna enjoy, and maybe other people will enjoy it, and if not, then that's fine. Same thing with our music, we enjoy it.
I was gonna say, I mean, we upload music still.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if people don't like it, that's fine. We love it.
Exactly.
So everything that you create has to be for you. Just do it. But I think the more of yourself that you share, the more individual you're going to be, because you have a lot of people right now where this is that like verification social media culture, where it's like we get messages all the time. How are you verified on Instagram? How are you?
Lord.
And I'm just like, because we do something that we work really hard at and got pretty good at. You want to be verified for what? For being you?
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure you're special and fantastic, but everybody is them. You don't get notoriety or claim to anything just for being you. You have to do something with who you are.
Well, it's amazing in this era that we live in right now. Just a little picture next to your name,
little blue check
makes a world of difference.
And it doesn't.
In people's minds.
It doesn't.
But that's the thing. It's all in our minds.
But
you know
that's
what I
the
mean?
thing.
Like, it's not a tangible thing.
Do you know how many people never listen to us that we've been friends with forever?
Oh,
and then so we got verified on Instagram, and then we're like, I actually listen to your music now. It's real good.
Bro, that is the number one thing I hear creative people say. The people that have been with them since day one, like people they've known their whole life, never listen.
No.
They never give it a shot. They never.
But they'll repost like a Drake song.
Yeah.
Like, yo, Drake don't need your help, bro. Drake gets 30 million streams in a day or whatever. Like,
so why don't you help out the people that you know that you say you give a shit about?
And to be fair, a lot of people
Because it doesn't make them look cool if they do it.
and it doesn't make them part of the group because they're not part of the million Drake fans, right?
Everybody's just clout chasing in their own way.
That's it. But that's what's so it's so they don't realize how what's the word? It doesn't. That's doing the opposite. Because
Right,
all you're
how
doing by
counterproductive.
that's the word I was looking for. I can't believe I couldn't think of counterproductive. Because
Come on, lyricist.
Jesus, I just got done talking about how great I am at words, and now I can't think of counterproductive.
Sometimes the words get jumbled up in my head, and I don't talk no good.
Yeah. When I get like excited about stuff, I'm like, but it's counterproductive because by again becoming homogenous and only mirroring and parroting things that are already huge, you're not individual.
Yeah.
And if you like Drake and Chick-fil-A and Netflix, guess what? You're nobody. Everybody likes those things.
Yeah, you've just told us nothing about you.
You're 10 million other people.
Let me guess, you breathe air and wear pants as well. Just going out on a limb
Do
here.
you wear shoes and use vehicles to travel?
I got shoes.
Yeah, exactly. So the thing is, by showing yourself and actually, like you said, having a no shame, I like what I like, that's what I like, and I like what I like. And if you're one of those people who can do that and really show you and not be embarrassed about it, which a lot of people now, they're hiding in plain sight, right? They're putting their whole lives on the internet, but not really. They're only showing the parts
they want you to see.
that they want other people to see and that think that makes them look like other people. And sometimes in an odd way. Like sometimes you could be
Like
a person.
an odd flex.
Weird flex, but okay. But sometimes it's like
We speak in memes now. Like we all just collectively
100%.
understood that.
Yeah,
My Instagram
That's culture.
handle
That's
is
culture.
I appreciate memes.
It is.
It's such a good time. There was a person who DM'd us on 8th grades that their Instagram handle is like "I demand means now" or something. It's
I
like
like
kind of
that.
like yours.
I like
yeah.
that. I like that.
But it's funny because people are so desperate for that virtual validation.
Yeah.
But the only real means they have of doing that is through just trying to be like everybody else.
Trying to fit in.
And you're never gonna get anywhere being like everyone else. You're never gonna accomplish anything of any notoriety whatsoever if you like New Girl, Drake, Domino's Pizza, Walmart, and
you watch the
Honda.
Game of Thrones finale.
And not that there's anything wrong with any of those things or liking any of those things.
Very
but
reliable car manufacturer.
100%. But if that's what you're sharing with the world, no one cares.
Say, listen, everybody watches Game of Thrones because it's a good show. That's fine.
Yeah.
But if you're not giving anybody an original take, you're just saying the same thing that 50,000
Oh, so
other people
Cersei
say.
got hit by rocks. I waited 50 years to see Cersei hit by rocks. We
like,
get it.
yeah, we
the
know.
ending sucked. That's fine.
Well,
It's
to draw a parallel, perhaps the reason why music is becoming homogenous is that the audience is as well. They're trying to fall center as well.
But I think that there's a constant showing of people who are hungry for things that are different.
Those people are always going to be out there.
Yeah,
I mean, they're going to be there, yeah.
And
They're
I
gonna
think
be
if you
born
take
out of
something
that.
that's, so for instance, Game of Thrones, we're on Game of Thrones, right? What was the last? What was great job, Nick? Sorry. What was the last fantasy-based show that garnered that giant audience?
There wasn't one.
Exactly. So you can do something different, right? HBO could have made another ER/Boston Medical/ one of those Grey's Anatomy, one of those stupid hospital shows where all the doctors fuck each other for some reason. They could have made
They're so darn good looking.
If you're a doctor on one of those shows, you will definitely fuck another doctor you work with, and you will definitely get sick, and the doctors that you work with will definitely have to treat you 100% of the time. But,
My medical drama, I judge everything off Scrubs.
well, there we go. Great, and that's Scrubs is a great show.
Real doctors and nurses aren't that funny.
No, it's
They don't. They
and
don't
it's
laugh
like we
as
get
much.
it. People get sick and die and shit. It's like dramatic, cool.
Yeah.
But how many times are we gonna watch that, right? They could have done another one of those. They decided to do a fantasy show based on a series of books that was, of course, wildly popular, but still fantasy is an outlier. But they did it. You know, and we can argue about how bad the last season was. I do think they fell off significantly. But the whole show as a body of work is brilliant
Tremendous.
and amazing.
It's tremendous.
And every actor and actress on that show had the performance of a lifetime all at the same time. And they dared to do something different. And it became the most popular thing in the world. And I don't think that you can just do what's already out there and you can just, again, homogenize yourself and be special. I just don't.
Well, no, you're 100% right. If you're just going to do what everybody else is doing, you're just going to be like everyone
Everybody
else.
else.
And everybody else is not special, unfortunately.
And I'll tell you what, and that's why people feel so bad about themselves. Because they are, I think now more than ever we talk about people having anxiety, I think people have a really, really hard time liking themselves. And it's because they're all comparing themselves to everybody's social media highlight reel. And they're comparing their real life to the way other people portray their highlights through social media, dude. Dude, every dude and every girl and everybody in between wakes up on some days and gets in the mirror and looks like dog shit. You're sick, you're hungover, you're tired, you didn't sleep well, whatever. They don't take that picture and put that up, bro. They don't. And every...
Hashtag I woke up like this.
Yeah.
I think I only have
Hashtag
those
I woke up
pictures.
like this, but Beyonce, you know, not one picture goes on her Instagram that's not edited, and she's the last person that needs it, right? That she's one of the most beautiful human beings to ever grace the face of this planet, but she still edits her photos,
Those
right?
baby pictures after when she had her kids.
Stop.
Like, come on.
You
Come on.
face tune your beautiful child. So it's one of those things that's what people are comparing themselves to, and that's what's, I think, a big part of what's making everybody so unhappy. And because you want to be like these people who are popular, you're just doing the same things that they do. And you find the people that get that break are doing something wildly different. At least the people that break themselves. Now, if you want to get into part of the machine, like music, you can just jump in the machine, man. You could spend a bunch of money. You could buy a radio team for $30,000. You can get some big manager to manage you if you've got the goods or the connections. You can hang out. And you can jump in and you can have people write your song for you. But if you want to do something significant and lasting and impactful, you're either going to be yourself or you're going to be nothing. That's just how it works. And you might make a break. You might get famous. You might have a song or two. You might get a part in a movie. You might do something. But if there's not something different and special about you, then they're gonna chew you up and spit you out, bro. You'll be gone in 6 months. That's how it's gonna be. So you social media, the best way to connect to me is you just really have to be yourself. You have to be different, and you have to be who you are, and not do what everybody else is doing, and have a separate approach. And I think people get with that. Like I think so. I really do.
You embrace your flaws, embrace your quirks, embrace the things that make you uniquely you.
For a long time, I was talking about how I don't want to put stuff on Instagram because I think if you look at most musicians' Instagram, it's just a stream of selfies.
I don't like too many. If I see too many selfies on someone's page, it's red flags.
And
big red flags.
I think about kids that are people that are listening to music who like maybe don't feel that great about the way that they look. Mm-hmm. You know, and that might not even be for a good reason, right? First of all, there's no good reason to be upset about how you look. That's the least important thing that you could have about you, right? There's a million amazing qualities you could have as a human being before you were attractive. Number 1 being intelligent. Number 2 being kind.
I have to do my mandatory comedian quote. It reminds me of a Rodney Dangerfield line. He says, he went to his doctor. He said, "Doc, every morning I wake up and look at myself in the mirror. I want to throw up. What's wrong with me?" Doctor says, "I don't know, but your eyesight is perfect."
That's good. But that's exactly it. It's like, you people are born attractive. They don't work for that.
Mm-hmm. It's
and by the way,
lucky roll of the dice.
And I'll tell you what, that's one of the reasons that everybody wants to be an Instagram celebrity so bad. Because if you were just attractive enough to just be famous and rich,
it doesn't require
don't take any work.
Yeah.
You just got to wake up and be. And that's why it's such an attractive job. But to me, there's so many things that you could be that are so much more important than being attractive. So I've really tried to limit the amount of just pictures of us that we put up. I told Nick the other day he bought business casual clothes for work. I was like, "You're gonna look like a Gap model," and I didn't mean that in like a making fun of him.
That's very personal.
Oh, was it?
No, I'm just trying to be funny.
Oh, well, that wasn't that funny.
Don't worry. Let's not knock the Gap.
What I'm getting at is Nick is a beautiful person, and he's very attractive, and he has beautiful deep blue eyes like the ocean.
Well, listen, I'm on the same.
Thanks.
You're welcome, bud.
He's not wrong.
And we could put those up, and we could put up pictures of Nick every day, and I guarantee you there would be a lot of people who are attracted to men out there who would be real happy about it.
A lot of folks getting the vapors just looking at those
100%,
those sultry photos.
Exactly. I'm over
Your
here.
social media strategy 2019.
I'm nice soft body.
Selfies of Nick.
For sure, dude. You're trim.
I'm for my page. I don't put any pictures of me.
Yeah.
I don't link it to my personal page or anything like that. Like I don't want it to be about me. Like the whole idea, it's the concept, the idea.
For
of
sure.
what this is.
But again, it's your idea.
Yeah.
So it's about you a little bit.
Well, yeah. I mean, I almost
and
feel
you're
more
facilitating
like
it. You're putting it in the work.
I feel more like a curator
For
than
sure.
anything else.
And that's a good attitude to have. But it's like we put up a picture today. Of course, the day we're doing this, we put up a picture of us. We still want people to know what we look like. We want people to know what clothes we're into, because that's part of who we are too, and to a degree.
Yeah, but we're message focused.
But we are very message focused.
Exactly.
And we try to keep it more exactly message and story.
Guys, I think we did almost 2 hours.
Did we really?
Oh my gosh.
I mean, we're coming up. We're like an hour,
getting there.
hour 43 right now.
That's pretty good.
Wow.
I'm really happy you guys came through, man. This is
I
a
had
really
blast,
good conversation.
Dude. I could talk forever.
We can't tell.
I know.
We can't tell.
Why you're the vocalist, man?
Dude, I'm the worst, dude.
Well,
I have to like make mental notes, like don't like talk forever. But I.
Well, what better venue to do that than here?
I know. I guess this is the right time.
Yeah, get it all out,
next
man.
Next time I'm drunk at the bar yelling over everybody, I'll remember this and be like, save it for.
I will say that podcast Brent versus Brent drunk at bar.
Yeah.
The only difference is decibel.
Oh, tight.
Yeah. I will
Throw
say.
a DJ in your kitchen. I can get there.
I mean your voice, not the music.
No, that's what I mean, because I have to yell over the music.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
I know the guy who owns this place,
and I probably don't like him. The worst.
I'm really grateful for you guys.
No, dude, it was my pleasure.
Thanks, man.
Seriously,
it was fun.
Do you guys have any dates? Any
we do.
announcements
So
you want to?
our next single drops. You know the date?
Nope.
Oh, it's the
June
21st.
21st?
Yeah, June 21st.
Yeah.
So just a couple weeks. It's called Beast, and it's about some of the music industry stuff we talked about. how there was at one point, I think, a time where Nick and I probably would have accepted a deal and become part of the
machine.
a cog in the machine, and we weren't cool enough, and we decided to do it anyway. And now Eight Graves is getting to a point where it's becoming its own kind of living, breathing thing. And I say it's no longer my goal to just like make it successful. I want to go up there and I want to burn some music industry stuff down, man. That's like my goal is to, if we ever get the platform and the power, I want to like change the way everything works. And
Fuck yeah, man.
Yeah, that's a big part of
Kick down some fucking doors.
Yeah, and stop making like rich idiots that have no idea what it takes to be a musician be the ones making the decisions.
That seems to be the consensus with a lot of creative people nowadays.
Yeah.
Just get rid of some of these gatekeepers that don't actually understand the industry that they're in.
Or that would prostitute and take advantage of creators and not honor them with fair compensation, with fair playing ground, with just the opportunity.
Creative freedom.
Yeah, with the opportunity to create and live a quality of life that, you know, is not making musicians make attempts on themselves. And that's not even a joke. Like, literally, anxiety amongst creative people and depression and suicide is at, like, a crazy high level right now. And I think a lot of that is because of the way that the music industry is run and the exploitative nature of it. So I'd love to burn all that down. So that's what Beast is about.
Beast June 21st.
Beast June 21st drops everywhere you stream music digitally, which is Spotify,
Apple Music.
It'll be on SoundCloud.
Or you can rip it from YouTube, like I'm sure someone could do.
Yeah, we don't care.
It's doable.
Go
But
for it.
YouTube to MP3
Converter software. Yeah, whatever, however you listen to music, it'll be
do
there.
it. Yeah.
any shows? Any live?
We have bids in for about 90 shows. So we're either going to play 90 or 0.
Somewhere in there. Somewhere in that range.
Otherwise, we are booking our own show. I think we actually are going to get the date. It's going to be like the first week of November, I think.
Okay.
But again,
TBD.
if the show before us cancels.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
here you
how it
go.
works now.
Where can people find you to find out more info?
Follow us on Twitter. I talk there all the time. That's where I get my loquacious nature over. So we're at 8Grades NYC. You can follow us on Instagram at 8Grades NYC. You could
Is
like
that
us
the
on
word or the
Facebook.
number 8?
Oh, it's the number 8.
Okay.
Number 8. We're going to put a
If
link
you-
in the show notes. And
Even if you search 8, the word, it still comes up. So
there was a very natural clarification request right there.
Yeah.
Flowed really
Or
well.
you can find me at
Have you done this before?
Never.
Or you can find me at a bar somewhere in your central New Jersey or New York City area.
Hey, I think listeners can take that as a challenge.
Yeah, dude. I'm like,
Where's
where's
Brent?
Waldo? Yeah,
Yeah.
dude. Come find me
And of course, obviously, 8graves.com.
on our website.
I built and managed that website, so.
Beautiful.
Yeah, when we say we do everything ourselves, we mean we do everything ourselves.
I'm right there with you guys. All right. Well, thanks again to 8 Graves, Brent, Nick.
Thank you for having
Thanks,
me.
Been a pleasure having you.
Pleasure.
Anybody listening, you know where to find us. We're at APodAmongstMen at gmail.com with any questions, comments, or concerns. Also, APodAmongstMen at Twitter and Instagram if you want to look at our shit.
Yeah.
Shit.
Anyway, the podcast comes out every Thursday morning, 1 a.m. You can find it YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, wherever you get your podcasts.
Yeah,
It's
and if
available.
you're one of Steve's friends listening to this, like, share it and stuff.
Yeah, share the shit.
Yeah, don't be
us
lame,
grow.
dude.
Smash that share
You're
button.
sharing other whack stuff that doesn't need to be shared. Your homie's doing something cool. Share it, or you're a bad friend.
I bet you if I did the Shiggy dance, then they would share it.
Yeah, or some Kiki challenge or some dumb... No. Share his podcast because you're supposed to be his friend, jerks.
It's a good show.
Yeah, and because he's awesome.
You guys are cool dudes.
Yeah, we're all right.
All right, guys. We'll see you next week. Peace.
Later.